What happens when the most aggressive attacker in history meets the most impenetrable defender? In 1987, Mikhail Tal faced Anatoly Karpov. Most people thought Karpov's logic would stifle Tal's magic. They were wrong. This is the masterpiece known as the Brussels Brilliance. Pawn to a4, pawn to c6, pawn to c4, pawn to d5. Karpov plays his signature Caro-Kann, but Tal chooses the Panov-Botvinnik attack, immediately signaling his intent to fight for an opening. Pawn takes d5, pawn takes d5, pawn takes d5, knight to f6, knight to c3, knight takes d5, knight to f3. We have a typical setup with an isolated queen's pawn for white. Tal gets active pieces. Karpov gets a solid target to attack. Knight takes c3, pawn takes c3, pawn to g6, pawn to d4, bishop to g7, bishop to d3 castles, castles. Both players develop perfectly. Karpov prepares to pressure the center, while Tal eyes the kingside with his bishops. The lightning bolt. Knight to c6, rook to e1, rook to e8, bishop to g5, bishop to e6. Karpov places his bishop on a6, a move that looks incredibly solid. He's ready to block everything Tal throws at him. Rook takes a6. Boom! Without hesitation, Tal sacrifices the exchange. He gives up his rook for a bishop just to shatter Karpov's pawn structure. The engine might be calm, but for a human player, this is terrifying. Pawn takes a6, bishop to c4, queen to d6, queen to e2. Tal's plan is clear. He has weakened the e6 pawn and created a diagonal of death for his bishops. Karpov is forced into a cramped, passive defense. The storm gathers. Knight to d8, rook to e1, rook to c8, knight to d2, king to h8. Tal isn't rushing. He brings his knight toward the action. Karpov tries to hide his king, but there is no shelter from the coming storm. Knight to e4, queen to c7, bishop to b3, pawn to e5, pawn to h4. Tal starts pushing the h-pawn. He is literally opening the gates to Karpov's kingside. Karpov tries to counter in the center with pawn to e5, but Tal ignores it. Pawn takes d4, pawn to h5. Pawn takes h5, queen takes h5. The h-file is open. The queen is hovering. The magician is ready to pull the rabbit out of the hat. Rook to f8, bishop to c2. Tal retreats the bishop only to aim it back at h7. Karpov thinks he's winning material here, but he's walking into a trap. Queen to a5, knight to g3. Karpov attacks the knight, and Tal just lets him take it. Queen takes e1 check. King to h2, pawn to h6. Karpov takes the rook with check, looking for an escape. He plays h6 to stop the mate on h7, but Tal has seen further. Bishop takes h6, king to g8. The sacrifice continues. If Karpov takes the bishop, it's instant mate. He tries to run with the king. Bishop takes g7. Another piece falls. Tal is tearing the house down around the king. Rook takes f2, queen to h7 check, king to f7, queen to g6 check, king to g8, bishop to h6 check. The king is chased back and forth. With bishop to h6 check, Karpov realized it was over. He is caught in a mating net that even the greatest defender in the world couldn't escape. Anatoly Karpov resigned. Mikhail Tal, late in his career and battling health issues, proved one last time that against pure imagination, even a python can be crushed. This game is a reminder. Never give Tal an open file and a dream. If you enjoyed this legendary encounter, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of chess magic. See you in the next one.